Cadillac Racing red car, the number 31, very familiar to us. On track now, Pipo Derani, part of that championship pair.
Yeah, and he's the kind of the backbone of this team with the driver lineup. Had a little bit of a shuffle, so Jack Aitken is now full-time alongside Pipo Derani for the season. Oh, incident early. This is the 50. This is the 5 car. Neil Johnny, the Swiss driver behind the wheel.
And that is a Porsche 963 in the barrier.
We talk about getting these tires up to temperature. They're running the medium compound tire from Michelin. Johnny does not have a ton of time with this hybrid machine. Competed at Petit Le Mans alongside Harry Tingle and Jimmy Bruni. Had a really nice podium run there for that customer car, but he's got caught out early here. You'd have to think that's just a cold tire situation.
That's the Proton competition Porsche. It's on the infield Porsche counter right after the cake.
Yeah, and these hybrid machines, they're so complex, Dave, with their systems and the software and how they deliver the traction to the road. And I'm not sure whether that was traffic involved in that scenario or he just got caught out with the cold tires. You see the
he was coming up
one machine just ahead of someone. Not sure if he had to give it a big lift right in the high-speed kink and pinned the nose. Either way, he ran out of room. Maybe he just hit the brakes extra hard with the tires not fully into their sweet spot. Loses the rear end, and that will curtail their potential for a strong qualifying run. There's Romain Dumas. He just got in fresh from the Dakar Rally. He's going to be part of the 4-driver lineup for next weekend. Has yet to see any drive time in the race car. The team will do everything they can. Very experienced crew. Spoke to Christian Fittipaldi, who's kind of the sporting manager for Mustang Sampling, with the major sponsor for the endurance rounds, at least for this entry from Proton. This is the team that won the LMP2 battle last year, that thrilling finish, Dave.
With the Mustang Sampling livery on it this year, partnering with this group, that's not how they wanted to see things get started for sure. It's coming up on the 01 Cadillac B-Series R of Sebastian Bourdais, who was on his outlap. That's the yellow Cadillac, and just got it wrong heading into turn 5.
I hate to talk too soon because these cars are very modular in terms of how they can peel some of these body parts off. They're almost like a Lego kit in terms of big blocks come off, so you're not working away with some of the smaller details in terms of the components and how everything is hung on the race car. So the team will do a quick survey here.
Just to remind everyone where we are in the day, this is a final practice session for the GTP cars, the 6th of 6 on their race weekend, and it had just begun. 25 minutes here. The track is still green. Our car's making laps out there now, but Neil Johnny and the number 5 on pit road for repairs.
Real sense of urgency there. That front is completely torn off. The splitter that would sit underneath that front bodywork has completely disappeared, so I'm not sure if this is feasible. I mean, last year, Dave, spares were a real consideration in terms of all of the camps were really worried about running out of parts during the 24-hour race and the race week in general, but I think everyone's geared up a little bit more over the course of the last 12 years, and there should be plenty of parts on site this weekend, but far from an ideal start, as you mentioned.
About an hour from the time when the GTP cars will take to qualifying, so they'll have time to work on that as others continue to make laps around the 3.56 mile Daytona International Speedway road course. And Calvin, I would imagine with qualifying coming up, these are qualifying simulation runs with the drivers who will be doing that qualifying.
Yeah, for sure. Right now they're going to have their quality driver on board. Nick Tandy has been slated to drive this car in the qualifying session. He hope things goes a little bit better than they did last year, Dave. He had a flyer going coming up to the Le Mans chicane. We're on board with him. Just loses the tail as he turns into that left-hander, gets caught out. I think there were mitigating circumstances as to why that happened again. All of these teams really working hard to understand these race cars as the captain watches on to see one of his entries not having a great run here, but they were in the thick of the championship come the end of the season, had a couple of wins, and they're looking to go a lot better this year and try and claim that championship.
Tandy on track now, third quickest of the cars there.
Those times are the fastest times we've seen here this weekend. Coming into this session, the fastest time was run by Phil Hansen, we mentioned earlier, for the JDC Miller Motorsport Group at 1:35.216, so they're about half a second underneath that. Again, a lot of that can come down. There's a tire allocation day. Because of the weather is going to be so much warmer next weekend, they've already been on the front foot in terms of trying to manage their tire allocation and keep a lot of the medium compounds, which seems to be the preferred choice for next week's race. Qualifying is determined. You have to run the medium compound. This is still a practice session, so that tire allocation, which includes quality, and the race is not started yet. That'll start here in just a few minutes when we get into the official qualifying session. But this is the 40 car. Louis Delatraz. This team absolutely loves this young man. Wayne Taylor Racing now got both of the Acura entries underneath him, and Acura going for 4 in a row here at the Rolex, Dave.
It's a two-car team now for Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti, the red one, the 40, the traditional blue, number 10. Acura will be on track as well. These times, Captain, believe it or not, are already under the track record in GTP, so you mentioned it, very quick here in cool conditions. They're saying it's going to be in the nice Florida 80s next weekend for the race, so very different next week. Optimum horsepower making weather here this weekend.
Well, the highs today are like mid-50s, Dave, and that's about 10 degrees lower than the lows of next weekend. We're anticipating still being in the low 60-degree ambient range for nighttime next weekend, middle of the race, and daytime highs touching 80 degrees. So the track is going to be completely different. The balance of the race car is going to be completely different. Some manufacturers may come more to the forefront in the heat of the day compared to the cooler conditions here. So what you see here today in qualifying may not cut and paste fast forward a week to the race conditions.
Back to the paddock for the number 5 Proton competition, Porsche 963. Again, if you're just joining us, Neil Johnny early into the barriers on the infield section at Daytona.
Got about an hour and 10, got about an hour and 10 minutes before the GTP qualifying session, so they get it back to the garage, do everything they can to get all hands on deck, see if there's any chance of getting that car out for the qualifying run.
Here's the incident, just coming out of the kink toward turn 5.
Towards the West Horseshoe, as we call it, and there you see, as you mentioned, Dave, the 01 car on an outlap going very slow, so I'm not sure if Gianni just rushed up on him and maybe he was looking at the inside, and the 01 car was right in that spot. And these cars are super sensitive, particularly with this brake-by-wire system with these hybrid machines. Very easy to get caught out, as we saw numerous drivers last year.
Meanwhile, Sebastian Bourdais has gotten on it and starting to make those types of laps that will put him in top qualifying form. Counting the weather we've been talking about means that the best lap for these GTP cars may be 3, 4, maybe 5 laps in during qualifying.
Yeah, the medium tire is a great tire in terms of the warm-up. We run the hard tire on occasion at some of the tracks, and that's where the drivers are really on their toes trying to keep it under control on the warm-up laps. But the medium tire is still good, but